And it's time. It's time for things you might have heard. For this day, tis day, Wednesday, October 5th, 2022. My name is Jacob Payne here for you for the ride. That are 8 news stories that were deemed the most conversational, very extremely conversational per you guys. Now, these aren't necessarily the top stories, although they are. Some of these things are making big headlines now that we have the bigger things kind of clear the way. A little less Russia stuff, lot less Hurricane Ida stuff, although that's still going on. Still remember that Brittany Griner is in Russia, so we put that out there. But these 8 stories, are stories that were vetted by you, that were posted on our social media feeds in the last 30 hours or so. More details about how you can get in on the action and tell us what stories are the best. But these are the stories to start your day off for your coffee chat, your bus chat, your chatty chat. This thing is something we called your news side piece, if you will. We like to think of ourselves as a tertiary news source. We're not supposed to replace anything. People who would think that Trevor Noah is their source of news, they're sadly mistaken. Let's do Superman and go Clark Kent for a second. And they're sadly mistaken. Trevor Noah is not supposed to be your news source. He's a source of commentary and, funny. We try to do that. Our funny is a little lost. Our commentary may be a little not for you, but we give you stories that are probably not there on the mainstream and some that are. Enough chat, enough ramble. Let's get into this. Stop by our main website, which is thisisaconversationproject.com, for more details on all the things we do around here for the Conversation Project, brought to you by More Better Media, LLC. Let's get to story number 1 today. It reads, headline at least, like this. Darrell Brooks represents himself in Waukesha Christmas parade trial. Last year in Waukesha, Wisconsin, there was a parade. There's always parade. It's always parade around Christmas time. But last year, there was a parade that was absconded by a guy driving way too fast, killing people in the action of driving down the street of the parade. He's finally going to trial, and he is going to represent himself. And as you would suspect, hilarity is ensuing. Well, not quite hilarity, but chaos is ensuing for this trial. There is the saying that the man who represents himself is basically as a fool for a lawyer and as a fool for a client, and as a client himself. And we're going to see how this thing plays out. Why exactly is he doing this? Well, mostly because he's not right in the head. Read the story and get deeper into the details of this one. You may have forgotten about this because it's been a while. It's been since Christmas when this happened. But this is something that really has a bigger effect on all of us than you think it does. Maybe a small comeback story that's in one area. It may seem like one of those reckless things that happen that people want to look out for. But there might be bigger implications for this than you think initially from just this and just one crazy guy representing himself in a crazy case. You might want to check that out because it could turn to something that is a bit more of a thing. Let's go to our next story, and it is this one. Backlash ensues after Kanye West dons White Lives Matter shirt at fashion show. Somebody go take care of your boy. Somebody go get him. Dave Chappelle, figure out what your problems are so you can go help out Kanye because he's got bigger issues than all of us right now. Kanye, the used to be genius, now the really just crazy guy is being allowed to do crazy stuff on his own. Not that white lives don't matter. Not that all lives don't matter. But this stunt that he's pulling out there is basically yet another cry for attention, not exactly even a cry for help. I don't think he wants help. I think he wants the crazy, and people want to enable it because he entertaining being crazy. You can go to the cover on this, or we'll go to the very one. That was the picture we had for our cover. That was him with the shirt. The back had White Lives Matter in the back at the fashion show. How he's at fashion shows with fashion no one can afford and nobody likes, I don't understand. How he's doing this stuff, I don't understand, because I don't understand Kanye West. No one really understands him. There was a time where his genius, if you will, his music, his things he did, him being out there was a thing. Now he's basically proving, everybody else to kind of falling for it. It was just an idiot for that. After his mother, who was a big time in education, passing, and he, of course, telling the world he's never read a book at all, we got problems. Somebody get your boy. Somebody take care of Kanye. He got problems. Trevor Noah has problems, actually. Trevor Noah's Daily Show exit apparently ruffled some feathers behind the scenes. Now, how did this announcement that Trevor Noah was going to leave the Daily Show go so unnoticed by his crew? How did no one get a scoop on that? How come no entertainment reporter was talking about maybe there's something odd at the Daily Show? That's because only a handful of people actually knew this. When he actually announced it to the crowd, most of the people that worked on the show, the comedians that were correspondents, the crew members, most of them had no idea what was in Noah's head. And remember, this isn't an I quit type deal. This is a my time is up. We're making a path or whatever. Right now, there is no path because he literally announced this a couple days ago. So there really is no path to doing things going forward. When Craig Kilborn left, they went to Jon Stewart as a way to keep the show going. Craig Kilborn created the show. Jon Stewart took the show in another direction. When Jon Stewart left after doing this stuff for so long, they made a really big deal and tried to figure out what was going on. And they announced as he was leaving, Trevor Noah was taking over. Trevor Noah at that time had only done a couple skits on the actual show. Had only been in the States full time for a short period of time before taking over the show or preparing for the hiatus in the next season of the show. Trevor Noah is saying, I'm out of here pretty soon, but don't have a real plan of action going forward. They're going to keep the Daily Show going in some semblance. They just don't have a path yet, and they will get one together. But one thing that really sort of cheesed off a lot of people in the back was no one had any idea what's going on. They felt sort of stabbed in the back because they caught off guard. So people asked them what's going next. They don't know because they just don't know. The Onion files hilarious Amicus Curiae brief in Parody case. The Onion's going serious, kind of. So the Onion filed an amicus brief for the Supreme Court to get in on the docket, and it's going to be probably seen in a few weeks or so. There is a case of a man who posted Facebook post parodying police officers because you have a right to free speech. He got blasted for parodying police officers in this Facebook post, and the Onion has filed a brief in support of this man, saying that the guy's got freedom of speech. And if you read the brief, you've probably never read of amicus brief before, something that goes for the Supreme Court. This one's actually entertaining. This one is hilarious. This one's funny. Check out the link and read more about the story of this one. But this is a case that is actually going to be seen before the Supreme Court. It's more or less going to be seen for the Supreme Court, and it is going to be high profile, mostly because it's the Onion, which helps. But because it does do a much larger job. It takes us to a much larger issue of how much freedom of speech we have in this world of social media, where back in the day, you had to actually go, pay money to put an article in the newspaper to do some stuff. Here, everyone has a phone. They pay for the internet, or they go for wireless something, or they just steal somebody's phone if you want to and post what they want to, and it's there. Is it fair? The Supreme Court shall rule. NFL star Tua Tagovailoa told to retire at 24 due to concussion fears in damning claim. Now I'm giggling because it's serious, and I'm laughing because I'm trying not to cry. Tua Tagovailoa is in his third season in football, second season in football, 24 years old, just got out of college, big time Alabama guy. And he's been told that he has retired after 2 weeks of concussion activity. 2 weeks. Now, for his safety, okay, sure, he can do that. He can back away and walk away for stuff. That's not a problem. But the fact that that people are saying, based on how things are going on right now, you just need to quit and not even try to go forward because what's happening because of let's say the random chances that you got plowed to the ground twice in 2 weeks and to make this happen. Now that's a bad thing, and something should be done overall about A, his offensive line, and B, concussion protocols to make sure that you're safe once you're tested and not sent back to play after being concussed. But this is also a pretty damning thing that the guy at not even the prime, at the beginning start of what's going on, has to quit because of this. Now, this is not a new thing. Many newish players that you don't hear much about end up getting the bell rung too many times early on in their career and by getting bounced out. Chris Nowinski, who turned to professional wrestling and then became an advocate for concussions, is a guy you think about. You kind of think about. He was a football player in college, and he went to professional wrestling. Won in the first ever Tough Enough stuff. Had a bunch of concussion issues in the WWE. Left to basically be an advocate for brain injuries and brain trauma. It happens. He continued much career because of his head injury. It limited his work in the ring. It limited his work physically, and it got there. Tua's work physically means being on a football field, and if he keeps getting his head wrong, then that's an issue. But it's also an issue that he's on a team that can't protect him, or maybe he can't protect himself. That is something that needs to be seen. Let's move on to the next story. A little less serious, a little more celebratory. Aaron Judge, the Yankees Aaron Judge, sets the American League record with 62nd home run. That means he officially beats Roger Maris. No asterisk on it. Here's the thing. There's a bunch of other people who hit more home runs in a season than he did. They all happen to play in the National League, and they all happen to be drug users. There you go. There's the stigma of performance-enhancing drugs, that being Sammy Sosa, that being Mark McGwire, that being Barry Bonds, who actually has the record for home runs. He just doesn't have, or he does have, a stigma that he is Barry Bonds and not Aaron Judge. Everybody likes this guy, and so they're loving the record, but he's not the top home run hitter. He's the top home run hitter for the American League record. The other actual record is held by another guy, asterisk or not. Elon Musk is set to agree to buy Twitter for $44 billion. We're going to go with that. He's caved into his little whatever, and he's going to go ahead and do it. Stocks are going up and down and bouncing around to figure out what's going on. Twitter people are happy. They know changes are coming. They are ready for the bailout of Twitter, if you will. And so hopefully Musk will come in and make things better and not just bring in new coffee machines, because sometimes the new guy brings in new stuff but doesn't make the workplace any actual better. And Cardi B discovers that the lady who owes her $3 million, the blogger who defamed her, and she got a judgment for $3 million, only has $1,000, specifically $1,083 in her bank account. That being said, Cardi B ain't bleeding that turnip anytime soon, but she is trying to get her money because it's the damages she's owed from the damages that were done from the blogger and her blogs. This is an interesting thing. This isn't one of the bigger stories, obviously, but this is an interesting thing because it's amazing how many people, regular old white dudes are in love with Cardi B as a person and performer. I worked in the radio with a talk show host, the guy in his 60s, and Cardi B was coming to the state for a festival, and no irony whatsoever, he spoke for about 3 weeks straight about going to see Cardi B. And something happened and she couldn't come and whatever. And then he spoke for about a week and a half straight about his upset about not seeing Cardi B. And this was, general, red state, red meat Republican guy, just talking about his love for this performer. It's amazing how many people will diss on Cardi B, but how many people universally love Cardi B, and people who actually want to see Cardi B get her money and see the blogger get her just desserts. It's hard to pay up $3 million. We only got $1,000 in the bank though, so we're going to see how this actually plays out. In most of these cases, people actually never get their money. That's just sort of the reality of the cases. But you see here, many people care about Cardi B getting that check. Getting it soon. Now, we're teasing this story, and this is a story I'm pretty sure we're talking about tomorrow because this is what is all over the place. There were other things that I actually wanted to do, including now Velma being canon as a lesbian in Scooby-Doo. That was something that came out yesterday. We didn't get a chance to post it till this morning, though. We're going to post this in about an hour, I believe. It's listed in the timeline, ready to go. Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen have hired divorce lawyers, report says. They've not been seen together. They've been doing things with their kids separately. The big deal is Gisele believes she's put her life on hold for Tom Brady. And Tom Brady unretired after about 40 days of retirement, so Gisele can go back and doing her stuff, and she's pissed. And we thought it was all just sort of a kind of a kerfuffle little giggle thing, but she's pissed. They're getting lawyers in. lawyers mean money. Lawyers mean big time stuff. Maybe Tom Brady will now leave his supermodel wife and go marry his supermodel girlfriend that he had a baby with before he married his supermodel wife. I never want people to forget about that thing. But here, Tom Brady, Gisele Bündchen going down the divorce road. Should we talk about this tomorrow? I'm pretty sure it's going to make it in there. You can help the matters by just going to our feeds on Facebook and Twitter, facebook.com/This Is the Conversation Project and twitter.com/th_conversation, and engage with the story. I'm sure there'll be a lot of engagement with this story and a lot of talk about this one going deeper tomorrow morning. Let's engage with some money for all of us, let's hope. Let's talk about Fundrise. This is the conversationproject.com/Fundrise is our affiliate link for the Fundrise platform. Platform allows you to buy into real estate just like it's investing into a mutual fund. You put in some money into a fund and people manage that fund with your money. They buy new real estate, they sell pieces of real estate, they renovate things and get things going, they rent things out, if you will. You have a pretty extensive portfolio that doesn't require you pulling out your tool belt and pulling hammers and nails into the walls or rewiring anything. You let someone else who knows what they're doing manage other people who know what they're doing to know what they're doing. This year, I started in Fundrise. I started investing in Fundrise a few weeks before I actually found out they had an affiliate program and put that into it. And I'm glad I'm using this affiliate. My funds for my stocks and ETFs and bonds and crypto, all that stuff is down this year, which is obvious because of the housing market. And now they're starting to see a little bit of ripples into it. The housing market, my Fundrise investments, although small, have been increasing. I've not lost any money in Fundrise. I've not lost any money directly in this real estate investment at all season, all year, all 3 quarters. Check it out for yourself. You get free stocks for free shares into funds by joining right now. In your first 30 days of advisory fees, that is what they pay themselves to pay you, are waived. 30 days, no money, all money. It's money. Check out This Is a conversationproject.com/Fundrise today. Now let's check out our main website. Again, it is, of course, this is the conversationproject.com. That is the home for the Conversation Project, where we like to think we're being more conversational, gathering the best conversational people, that's y'all out there on the internet, to talk about things that are worth talking about. Not just the top headlines, not just the crazy stories, the whole spectrum of news from all over the world. We get a lot of folks, a lot of stories popping up. I'm not sure exactly how it happened, probably because it's the ABC in Australia. We get a lot of love from Australian viewers and listeners, because it's also a podcast, and readers of the stuff we do. So we thank you so much for love around the world. Love that love from places overseas, that's outside of the U.S., of course, and we just enjoy it. Check out the website, find links to our sponsorships page, find links for our partnerships page, find links to our feeds and our podcasts and our direct YouTube page for the Conversation Project right there at our website. Find out what you need to know about us at the place. Now, about today, October 5th, birthdays on this day. Let's celebrate with Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's 64 on this day. Daniel Baldwin, maybe one of the lesser Baldwins. He's one of my favorite Baldwins. I'm a big fan of Daniel, 62 on the day. And Jesse Eisenberg, only 39. How does a 30-year-old guy get to play Lex Luthor? I don't know, but he did it. He made it work. Today is Do Something Nice Day. That's it. Do something nice. It doesn't take much effort, doesn't take much money, doesn't take much time. Do something nice for someone. And once you get one done, do some more something nices. Do a lot of something nice, but take the time to just do something nice. And remember, it's not about what you get back, about what you're giving forward. And that is the nice thing. It's not about the payment. It's about the act. Let's go with that. Let's talk about one last thing out the door. One last fact. Don't go too fast. A couple of studies a few years back found a growing happiness gap between men and women. One tracked traditional happiness data by asking people how satisfied they are with their lives. It found that women who in the early 1970s reported being slightly happier than men are now slightly less happy. The other analyzed time-use studies over the past 4 decades to determine how much time men and women spent doing things they found unpleasant. That's what the word is. It's a word. Since 1960s, men have gradually cut back on tasks they dislike. They now work less and relax more. Meanwhile, women have replaced housework with paid work and as a result are spending more time doing things they don't enjoy. Women aren't actually working more today than they were 30 to 40 years ago. They're just spending more time on paid work and less time on cooking and cleaning, the housework. So, according to these studies, essentially what we're finding is that men are happier than women than they were 40 years ago, 50 years ago. And a lot of the stuff is based on the fact that what's happened is men have essentially gotten a bit more lazy and doing less things that they don't want to do because of technology and stuff stuff. And women who are now working more outside the home and working more for pay, as opposed to working more in the home as homemakers, are less happy because they did not get to give up as much stuff, to be honest. They're still the primary folks doing the housework. We've talked about studies on that in the past here, but the men aren't doing their fair share as a whole. Now, I would say, as I kiss up to Christina with a K, who's watching right now, I say I do a fair bit of housework, and I say I'll do a bunch of stuff that she doesn't actually want to do or like to do because, the solitude of washing dishes because no one wants to be around is kind of a thing. It is what it is. But in general, men do less stuff they don't like to do, which means they get to be in a happier place. Women are doing more stuff that they don't like to do. That is, they're working and doing the chores, if you will, giving them a sense of less happiness to work with. Of course, your mileage may vary. Now, with that, we're done. Today is not Monday. I forgot to get that side. Today is Wednesday, October 5th, 2022. Thank you so much for being a part of our Shody Show. Things you might have heard for this day. Thank you for being a part of the community. Thank you for just being a friend. Do something nice for me today and make sure you hit like on wherever platform you're checking this out. Also, you can check out the main website for links to the podcast and the newsletter. Subscribe to those. We have more of those. If you're not actually subscribed to our YouTube page, you can do that as well. Subscribe and hit notifications. 5:50 in the morning, we go live with this thing, so you can see that going forward. The newsletter, well, it'll be a little later newsletter. I was running a little behind today, so newsletter will probably come out when I get to work to do some finished editing, of course. The podcast, we'll probably drop that on the way out the door, though, as well. I love you all. Thank you for being here, either live in the future. Stay hydrated. Stay limber, stay on task. We need you here for grand good things that you are here to be for. Let's get to work on Thursday. Check out what's in the feed so you can vote up the stories you want to talk about on Thursday. And we'll see you on tomorrow, which is Thursday.